Transitions can be a really challenging part in life, especially if we're not sure how to deal with them. We can go through so many ups and downs during transitions, wondering if we're good enough, wondering what the next thing is, wondering if we're going on the right path. What is the right path? Wondering if we're making the right decisions. What is a right decision? I'm learning there's no such thing as a good or a bad decision or a right or a wrong decision when it comes to certain paths in my life. The next step in my life, I used to be so sure. I used to know what I wanted to do. Like, my plan was nursing school, work as a nurse for 1 or 2 years, get into medical school, and take that whole route. But the way things have turned out, I left the medical route, ended up going to getting my master's in integrated medicine. I just graduated. Yay to me. I actually haven't made a video since I graduated. And now I'm in the middle of a transition period. I've heard people call on TikTok a sunset period, and I kind of like that term. A sunrise/sunset period. Or, as I learned back in grammar school, like a crossroads. So we are at a crossroad and we're asking ourselves which way to go. I've adopted this mindset of following my intuition. Right now, all I'm following is my intuition. I've been getting a couple questions lately from different people who are just curious, who just ask questions and just want to know. And they're questions I used to get in the past and I could answer them, no problem, always had an answer. But I actually have not had an answer for these questions. And I'm okay with it because I'm following my intuition. I'm following where I feel called, going where I feel called, letting the ebbs and flows of life take me, and moving with the seasons. And so the questions sound a lot like, what are your dreams? Like, what do you dream for your life? I could not tell you anything right now. I genuinely could not. What's your dream job? I genuinely could not tell you. I'm just moving on next steps, and even the next steps I'm taking right now, my heart doesn't beat the way I used to feel my heart beating for certain things. So kind of just moving, kind of just going along, but that's okay. I think eventually, like, the dream for my life, the dream for my job will come at some point in time, but I'm not too pressed because that means I get to release my detachment to outcome. But that's not even what we came here to talk about. So we came here to talk about how to work through transitions. So I'm going to share with you how I've been able to work through transitions because I've gone through a couple. Leaving the hospital and just resting for some time was a very big transition I had to go to. And then going back to graduate school was another big transition for me. Leaving the workforce and then going back to school, a big transition. And I picked up a couple habits, a couple things that really just grounded me, kept me in clutch, kept my mind at peace during this period of ups and downs and newness and not sure being what you identify with at that point in time, because so many things, so many times the things we do end up becoming our identity. What we spend the most time doing ends up becoming our identity. So if I spend the most time content creating, I'll say my identity, I'm a content creator. And I have mixed views on identity. I do feel as though from reading books, I'm learning that I can expand my horizons so much more if I don't identify with a certain thing and rather identify with everything, because it doesn't box me if I allow myself to not really grasp onto an identity. Sometimes that identity can make you a little bit smaller than you are. You don't fit inside a box. At the other hand of that spectrum, you can use identities for your benefit. And this works with goals. When they say show up as who you want to be, if you want to be an author, you want to write a book, instead of just saying, oh, I'm writing a book, and thinking of yourself as this little amateur that's writing a book, say I'm an author. You don't have to have written a book to call yourself an author, but you are in the process of writing a book, so therefore you're an author. Even on my journey of content creation, what did I want to, instead of saying, oh, I'm just creating content and just putting it out as if I'm just doing something small for my friends and putting it online for them to see, I started calling myself a content creator and started showing up that way, making that my identity. That way, when I call myself, I'm a content creator, nobody has to validate me, but I validate myself. Everything I do is in line with being a content creator. So I will make my content calendar. I will reach out to brands. I will put the kind of content out there that I would put if I had an even larger audience, because I'm showing up as what I want to become. So that's how we use our identities. becoming bigger parts of ourselves. I've been tackling my transition with a couple skills that y'all should know. So using routines. Routines are a great way to ground me, to stabilize me, to bring some sort of structure in a world that I may not have as much structure as I think that I want to have. I'm learning now that as much as I like structure, I like to be in charge of my time. And I'm going to digress for just a second. Let me take you on a journey. I'm learning that emotions are messengers. Emotions are here to tell me certain things. They're here to show me what I feel deeply towards, or what addiction, or what processing, where my childhood feelings went to. They're here to show me things. And I'm realizing the more that somebody else has control of my time, or the more that somebody else determines my schedule, the more I'm like, I do not like that. That just doesn't sit right with me. So I'm using my emotions as a way to guide me towards what I want and towards calling into my life what I would like. So I never really knew what I wanted for a job, but now I know that I would like to be in charge of my own time because of the way that I feel, what my emotions are telling me. Let me get back into that digression. So routines. Routines are great to stabilize you. And even though control is an illusion, it brings a sense of that illusion back into your life. You're creating some structure within something that you may not have a structure in. So when I left my job as a nurse, I still wanted to wake up at a particular time certain days, still wanted to have my morning routine, which consisted of my meditation, my gratitude journaling. Right now I do morning pages, which I will talk about in a different video because morning pages are life-saving. I am going to keep my mouth shut about them now. You will get that in another video. And then I will go for a walk, or I will go to Pilates, or I will go to the gym. And then I will come home, take a bath, make my breakfast, and then start on my work. And I always write my intentions. So a big thing as well is writing your intentions for the day. Even though you're going through these transitions, use these transitions as a time to pick up some skills. So when you set your intentions for the day, instead of saying, I have nothing to do because I'm waiting on this next chapter of my life, why don't you pick up a skill that you've always wanted to pick up? Or if there's no skill that you've always wanted to pick up, what's something you find interesting that you'd like to learn more about? There are books at your disposal. There are courses online. You have LinkedIn, you have Coursera, you have Skillshare. It's at this point in the video that I would like to introduce my sponsor, Skillshare. Y'all, it would be so cool if I got Skillshare or a Coursera sponsorship. We're manifesting that. I'm gonna get that. Baby, talk about it. Soon, that'll be mine. Okay, but anyways, yeah, so many different ways that you can grow skills during that period in time. And it's just now that I'm learning, I feel like I'm doing a lot of digressions, but bear with me. I'm learning that there are a lot of adult skills that nobody really talks about. It's like learning how to take care of plants. I love plants. I think they're so beautiful and they bring so much life and energy to a space, and that's what I've been needing in my life. Green in my space. And I don't feel like that's a skill that we necessarily may learn in school. If we did learn in school in agriculture, it was more of the theory aspects and nothing of the practical way. So a skill like learning how to plant, or reading books. Maybe you want to read a book about psychology. I'm super curious about how the human mind works and how humans interact. I love learning about that. So reading books on that. Or maybe you're learning how to cook nutritious meals, because I'm learning now that you may think that you're eating nutritious, but ask yourself how many times you've actually eaten veggies this week, like green leafy veggies. How many times have you touched green leafy veggies this week? I'm sorry, what'd you say? Okay, yeah. Better go figure out how to get more of that inside your diet. So learning how to be more intentional about the ingredients that you put inside your food, that is another skill that you can decide to pick up during this time. But knowing that this time is for you, instead of being drab about when is the next thing going to happen and when is this, use that as a time to give yourself some soul rest, to slow down the pace of things, but also to pick up some skills, pick up some things that you can use in the next chapter of your life, because baby, the next chapter, it's fruitful. She's abundant. But there are some skills that you can use that way, or some stable things that you might need in that part of your life that right now you have the time to pick up. So pick them up while you can. Knowing also during this period of transitions Whether you know the next step or not, knowing that what is yours is coming to you has been such a key for me. It's brought me so much peace when sometimes the waters feel rough and I'm just like, what? And let me tell you what I mean by that. I'm going to be very vulnerable with y'all. I don't really share that in my present right now as I'm sat in front of my human monkey eyes, like my human mind and my monkey mind, I don't see a job right now. That's my monkey mind talking. I know my job is in another reality and it's being brought to me as we speak. And so sometimes that scares me that I can't see, or I don't know with my conscious mind what the hell is the next step. Sometimes that's really scary to me. I know my subconscious already knows that what's for me is on its way to me, but sometimes I get caught up in my monkey mind and not trusting the process. And just knowing and reminding myself that what is for me is coming to me, and I need to be patient. And that if it was supposed to be my reality, it would be in my reality. And so just knowing that what's mine is always coming. Affirming to myself, baby, what's yours is yours. What's yours is yours. Nobody will take it away. Like, it's coming to you. You need to be patient. And it's even better than you ever imagined. Have y'all ever had those situations where you wanted something so bad and you realized what you wanted wasn't even that good? And sometimes you'll have that situation where you're so pressed to get what you want that you just, like, you go to the end and you get it and you're like, oh, hey. But you have those times where you want something and God's like, wait, just wait, babes. And he brings it to you. And it might not be at the time that you want it. It may be later on, but you're like, wow, this is so much better. So knowing that divine timing is the best timing, and that something that you might have not have ever imagined is coming, is absolutely beautiful. Personally, that's what I need, because when I tell you I have, as I'm sitting down right now, I couldn't tell you, I cannot tell you. Like, I'm sure my subconscious knows, but me right here, I couldn't tell you. So I'm trusting that's what's mine is on its way to me. Also, during this time, sometimes you can feel carried away by not having a structure during the day. Yes, you might have your morning routine and your night routine, but during the day, what are you doing? Apart from learning skills, when it gets to the weekends, you can do something along the lines of evaluating your week. You might be like me, and you might really hate wasting your precious time and your energy, especially during the week. My least favorite thing is having weeks where I don't feel productive because I'm scrolling on my phone or scrolling on YouTube or something, wasting my time, wasting my energy. And I could be doing something more productive. So what I like to do is at the end of the week, I like to evaluate my weeks. And this is something that I honestly just started. It's a practice that resonates with me at this point in my life. But this looks like sitting down and asking myself, what worked this week? What habits felt great this week and expansive? What do I want to do less of next week? And so I'll share what I did, because I did some journaling yesterday. I went to the park and I wrote what works for me. Waking up before 7 a.m., preferably around 6 a.m. Focusing on one thing at a time. I'm doing this training right now, and I've done like parts of the training before, so sometimes I'll scroll on my phone while the speakers are speaking. And I don't like that, because I have trained myself to have the capacity and the capability to do one thing at a time without being distracted, but I decided to distract myself. So I'm telling myself, focusing on one thing at a time, having less than 1 hour on social media, my setting intentions, my morning routine, so my gratitude journaling, visualizing my day, using my intentions and my morning pages in my meal prep. And then I said what I wanted to implement is getting up with my alarm. So sometimes I'll press snooze and I won't get up with my alarm. Also, I decided to change my alarm to morning meditation. Y'all, I feel like I need to do another digression, but I will talk about this another day about habits. But I'm going to just drop this nugget here that if you're having a habit that you really want to stick to, please pair it with another habit or make it as simple or as easy or as most convenient for you as you can. With me, I love meditating in the mornings, and I never wanted it to feel like a chore, so I decided to set my wake up alarm to be a morning meditation so that I don't have to wake up and go on my phone and scroll for my morning meditation like it's a chore. It's just done automatically for me. Also, like putting my content on a schedule instead of just putting my content whenever. So that's just a little bit of things I do to just sit down, evaluate my week, see what's working, see what's not working, and what I want to implement the next week, especially as we're in this transition period and things may feel rocky, and the days that you think you have may end up muddling together, and you may look at the end of the week and be like, damn, I never did anything. And that may go on for a couple weeks if you never took the time to sit down and really evaluate, hey, I really want to be more productive and I can make this change right now. What has also been super helpful to me during this transition period is picking up a grounding practice. It may feel like things are very shaky and maybe unstable during transition periods, and having something to make you feel rooted is really important. And so routines are a great physical practice to ground you and have during your week. Another great practice is just having a general grounding practice. This could feel like putting your feet in the earth and just imagining yourself as having roots, or just being outside in nature and breathing in the air, maybe doing some light meditations, but something that grounds you and has you present in this moment instead of up in your head where you're worried about this transition and you not knowing certain things. Grounding practice, I love going into the park, putting my feet on the earth and just reading, listening to some music, listening to my podcast. Another great way to provide some stability or just some sort of comfort during this transitional time and some extra support is journaling. I love to journal. Like I said earlier in this video, I've started adopting this routine called morning pages, which I will share about in a different video. I'm doing 30 days of it, so I'm going to do like I did 30 days of morning pages, here's what I realized at the end. Anyways, but having a journaling practice to write down how you're feeling this moment. You're going through this change and it's very different from what you are used to, so how are you feeling? And really just documenting and seeing how you're feeling. And you don't have to do anything with it, but just that act of writing and speaking about it has so much power in you and brings so much power back to you and makes you feel so much calmer on the inside. You've released some of that worry that you've had inside. Also, another grounding practice, expressing gratitude for what has been, what is, and what's coming into my life. Just finding some stability, knowing that I always have something to be thankful for. I have a house, like I have an apartment, that's grounding. I have a place to put my head, that is grounding. I have food entering my belly, that's grounding. Knowing that my basic needs are being met, that's a very grounding feeling. And so just acknowledging that, having that gratitude reminds you of how much you have rooted already in life and how covered you are already. All right, my loves, I hope you enjoyed this episode. My name is Onwusa, and if you didn't hit that like, follow, and subscribe button, what are you doing? I'm also on TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, I like to share a lot about what I'm experiencing in life. Before, I would just kind of share a lot of different things, but right now I'm in a period where I'm feeling called to speak about my experience and how I'm working through my experience. And so if you're going through a similar thing, please let me know and we can talk like what helps you go through these transition periods in life, because I love to learn from other people. And there are people in the comments who also want to learn how to help or work through transitions. So please let us know in the comments. I will see you in the next video, and bye.